Hi everyone, I'm Scott and welcome to another episode of The Unlikely Beak. It is finally, officially, spring 2026. And although we've been to the bee yard, I think like twice in 2026, once in January to put on a round of fondant that we made in our previous video, as well as once in February when Mother Nature gave us a fairly decent day that made it possible to pop the lids and see how they were doing and add in another round of fondant, which we're back today to see if, where they're at on consuming that, whether or not we need to put anything else on. We've still got some cool nights and a few not so warm days to go. So, yeah, they may still need to kind of stay winterized, but I'm going to flip the camera around here and show you what's going on. As you can see, everything looks really amazing, pretty much exactly the way we left it in October when we put them to bed. So I think today what we're going to do is just take a really quick and cursory peek into the top box to see if we can see any brood or, assess whether or not we've got a laying queen in there, and kind of what the population looks like a little bit. As you can see, it's a beautiful day. It's really warm today, although it's going to be not so warm for the next couple of days, which is, the way Mother Nature seems to be in early spring at this time. And this part of the country, for sure, definitely a bit bipolar when it comes to the ups and downs of temperatures. So that's enough talking. So I'm gonna get everything set up down there and finish suiting up, and I'll be right back. So we're getting ready to get into what we're gonna call this season Hive 1. As you can see, the hives are still set up for winter, and I'm not quite ready to take the wraps and stuff off yet. From what I can tell, though, there is activity at the entrance of every colony, and you can see there is a ton of pollen being brought in. There's some new smoker products out there that use chemicals to mimic the smoke. They're getting some popularity. I'm never going to use one, but let's have a looky here. As you can see, we got probably 3 solid frames of bees here. And this, of course, is the second round of fondant that I gave them. And as you can see there, it's almost all gone. I've eaten about 3/4 of it. I'm going to have to buy a flashlight so I can start seeing down in there. But you can see there's a lot of bees down in there. And I'm hoping to get them to draw out some comb for me, because you can see this was comb. These were frames from last year. And all they did was steal the wax off of it. And it never really drew any comb. So I'm hoping, I'm probably not going to give them as much syrup this year as I might give a package, because I don't think they need as much as a package, obviously, because they've survived the winter and they've still got a bunch of stores, and they're not starting off with, fresh foundation and all that kind of stuff. So this next frame here, you can probably see, you can see there is a bunch of capped brood in there, which is exactly what I think I would expect to see at this point, because fairly often the queens start laying around, probably around mid-February or so. This colony is definitely definitely did really well and has a good population. And this was the only colony out of all of them that had completely consumed all of the first round of fondant that I had given them. You know, the fondant that was supposedly going to be rock hard like queen candy, but wasn't. 5 weeks later, it was still just as soft as the day I had made it. Anyway, here's the rest of the fondant that I brought. Those are only like 1 pound patties. Like I said, it's a new formulation that I used. I used an enzyme. I think it's called invertase. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not, but they use it to make like cherry cordials and other types of candy and stuff like that. So what it does is it actually inverts the sugar. So at this point, I'm gonna stop recording, and I'm gonna probably rip through some of these colonies just to kind of speed the time up a little bit. I'll be right back. Whew. Tell you, I'm bushed. So out of practice a little bit, you know, from not beekeeping for a couple of months. So definitely have to build back up my endurance, but oh man. So it's so nice to have the truck now, and I can just sit here on the tailgate. But anyway, so what's going on with the bees here? So I'm very, very happy to report that everybody survived so far. Like I said, we still have a little bit of time, right? But from what I saw in there, population is good. So here's typically what takes a colony out this time of the year, right? Typically what takes it out is starvation and not being able to cluster for the following reason, right? So queen typically starts laying again sometime in February, right? I mean, that's a general idea, right? It's not an absolute. It's like anything else in nature. It's a generalization. It's an approximation, right? So, but if the population is small, and typically what happens is that they will stay on that brood so that, you know, to protect that brood and keep it warm. They won't cluster. So then they won't stay warm themselves, and then they freeze, right? So, and of course the brood dies anyway. And the other part is starvation. So starvation's not a problem because I fed my bees continuously throughout the fall until they stopped taking syrup, right? So they had a lot of stored syrup, not to mention the fact that I left them a decent amount of honey. Now honey can't always be, a good food source for them. Sometimes it can cause them some gut problems, but so syrup is usually better for that. And then in January, I brought some fondant down and gave it to them about mid-January or so. And then I came back again in, probably early February, right? I came back and I gave them more fondant. Most of them still had a little bit of their old fondant left, but they had eaten a significant amount of it because it was big patties. It was like 2.5 pound patties, right? So the second time I brought them, I only brought them 1 pound patties, and almost everybody ate it all. And I also brought them half a pollen patty, and they all ate the pollen patty, all except for 2 colonies. But so in any event, the populations all looked good in there, so I'm not too worried about there not being enough bees to keep the brood that's in there warm. Sorry, the motorcycle distracted me. So in any event, I'm not really worried that they're not going to have enough bees to keep the brood warm, and they definitely have enough food. So I think we're probably going to be good. So I think that's really kind of it. I mean, that's it's a really good update. I mean, I'm definitely happy to be able to bring, this kind of update to everybody about, the state of the apiary. So we're gonna take one more kind of quick look across the entrances of the colonies here, and we'll probably get out of here. So of course the strongest colonies are the ones in the back row here. Of course those are my original colonies. So yeah, there you go. Very, very, very happy with what I have found here on my first kind of dig in. I didn't go too far into the colonies. Again, just a couple of frames, just enough to see the eggs and the brood and the various stages that I needed to see it in. And that's all I really needed to do. Gave them all some more fondant and call it a day. So I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.